You're helping let the truth ruin a good story with this Paul the Other One podcast. A year ago, Christopher Luxon stood on stage at a National Party conference and told the nation that we, the wet, whiny, inward-looking, bottom-feeding nation, had slipped into a culture of saying no, and that we had to say no to saying no. And no one knows no like our sorted, entitled Prime Minister, entitled to his entitlements that he then didn't say no to. After all, he was the one who said no new ferries, no Auckland Light Rail, no fresh school lunches, no safe speeds around schools, no new nurses. Wow. 54 full-time equivalent nurses over 3 years, no funding for science, no public housing, no first home grants, no funds for the disabled, no public transport subsidies, no relief from skyrocketing costs of living, no new jobs, no pay equity for 180,000 people, no Te Reo Māori, no fees free for students, no benefits for 18 and 19-year-olds unless their parents are means tested, no to emergency housing and no to emergency benefit support, and made people say no to staying here as they left for greener pastures overseas. And on Sunday, he announced no new taxes as the most national-sounding election policy ever floated by a party that knows that it can't campaign on its achievements because there aren't any, and can't vilify their coalition partners because they agreed to the things their coalition partners wanted. New levies will probably be fine, and he's already said that he's happy to raise current taxes and levies, so expect GST to be tinkered with and assets to be sold. But nothing new on top of that. And that's actually got some people really annoyed, like the people on Auckland Council who have been working on a bed tax under a cooperation agreement with central government because, well, you might recall, the government's been demanding more massive events to bring in tourists, which use resources paid for by Auckland ratepayers, and a bed tax was a simple way to help make sure that tourists to the city help a little bit more with the costs that they were incurring, meaning that money wasn't taken away from things like, infrastructure and pipes that right-wingers love to complain about. Added to the mix on the weekend, though, was Labour's financial plan, which, to be honest, I actually don't really see a point of announcements of guiding principles of spending. I'm not an economist, and I kind of figured this sort of thing would be apparent in their policies, but I am sure that those left of Labour are going to say it doesn't go far enough, and those right of Labour are going to tell them to stop trying to make fetch happen. But Saturday night, the news of this imminent announcement from Labour sent National into a tailspin. They cut and pasted across most of the party a long diatribe about how 2017 Labour also had high-minded ideals and fiscal plans, and they were totally gone by the time they were voted out, about how debt had ballooned, how they'd wasted money on things like that Auckland Light Rail, the one I mentioned before, because it was National who cancelled it, throwing away the millions that had been invested into it. But there was a shitload of desperation in this message. Not the fact that, according to Treasury, if we'd re-elected Labour in 2023, we probably would be in a surplus by now and unemployment should be back to normal bands instead of at record highs under the original measurement tools as well, not the one that Nicola made up to hide debt. But the bullshit and the dog whistles in the statements are really out there. They include the conspiracy dog whistle about refusals to front to an inquiry that those holding the COVID inquiry said they didn't have to front because they'd already presented answers and responded when needed, or vilifying funding for climate resilience projects after there were massive storms hitting the country and just before Cyclone Gabriel hit, the debunked by Treasury claim of missing COVID-era loan money, and that COVID was not a real reason for Labour to spend money. It looked like panic, and an attempt to woo New Zealand First voters back who felt that there hadn't been enough Nazi representation in National lately, so they went to New Zealand First to find it instead. Then on Sunday, their MPs jumped back online to again conflate tax proposals from the Greens and Te Pāti Māori and Opportunity as Labour policies, even though there's now a shit ton of mainstream media calling them out for their tax hysteria bullshit, like content creators have been doing for the last 3 years. The fact is, National is clearly throwing whatever they can at a wall and seeing what sticks, and a focus group somewhere has told them tax bad, Labour bad is the combo that's the easiest for the simpletons that they're hoping will fall for their spin to understand. But don't worry, those fact checks have now been updated at election2026.co.nz this morning to include things like the forgotten COVID loan details, claims about Labour cancelling light rail, and bonus claims from the weekend like we're the second safest country in the world because of National's tough on crime policies. Just to make sure that you've got sourced information to rebut the bullshit claims coming from crazed, desperate, entitled, sorted wealthy MPs and their weird fans. And after this morning's Reid Research poll for RNZ, the poll aggregate's also been updated on the website to incorporate that data. And if you're sick of this crap and want to change, Well, you only get to do that if you are enrolled before the early voting period starts, because the Coalition has also said no to same-day or even early voting period enrolment and updates to make it harder for the people who want to say no to them to do so. So head to vote.nz now, check it all out. Even if you've lived in the same place for a few years, you might end up on the dormant roll, so please go and make sure all your information is up to date so you can get out there and have your say this year. Hello there, Kia ora podcast listeners. I'm going to keep this one, I keep saying this every day, I'm going to keep this one really quick, but that's because I have to duck off into town very soon and I need to shower and organise everything like that beforehand. So I just wanted to do a quick recap of how absolutely fucking batshit insane things were this weekend. If you look at the National Party in particular, Labour did its thing, cool, whatever. It announced its new caption thing, was it Better Starts Now? Which they did on the Monday after I'd already made the video, which had like 50 takes. I kept screwing up one really weird phrase, so, well, that's just me. But yeah, just have a look over the weekend. Look at the insanity that came out of the National Party, that came out of the MPs and candidates in particular, where they are spouting COVID conspiracies and they are vilifying people along the same lines that we see from New Zealand First in particular. It's really creepy, because generally speaking, we expect National in particular to be centre-right, relatively normal, people who are on smaller government and what they think is fiscal responsibility. That also, by the way, is a new fact check that's up this week about fiscally responsible as National. But yeah, it's genuinely strange how they did that. So I want you to go back, have a look over the weekend and see just what the crazy is. And remember, Labour is not suggesting 9 new taxes. Labour has one new tax proposal that they have put out there. The rest that they are putting out there are conflations of other policies, making stuff up and pulling in policies from other parties that they're claiming. It's just the usual bullshit. But please, most importantly, make sure people go out and check their registration to vote. I did that in a work meeting this morning actually, and somebody's like, ooh, and it turned out they hadn't updated their details and they were still registered to vote at their old address, which was in Tauranga. They live in Auckland now. So yeah, please keep reminding people, because we need to make sure everyone who can vote is able to vote and is ready for it. All right, I'm going to leave you to it. Go look after yourselves. Live long, prosper. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button or share the podcast or the video, whatever works for you. And I will catch you guys all next time.